I've been writing fanfiction for 20 years.
Nerd!
Hi, my name is Sylvie. I'm a former fanfiction writer turned published author, and I wanted to get on camera today to talk about my history with fanfiction. As I've mentioned in the opening, I've written fanfiction for 20 years, probably technically more than 20 years. I first started in 1998 and I finished my most recent fanfiction in 2018-2019. As I mentioned in the opening, I've written fanfiction for 20 years. With that amount of time comes a lot of experience. I've learned a lot of good things, a lot of bad things about writing fanfiction, and I thought I would offer up some lessons that I learned to the viewers of my channel. Before I continue, please be sure to like and subscribe and ring the notification bell to be informed when I upload new videos. So I learned three major lessons from writing fan fiction for 20 years. Lesson one, you have to be consistent. There's that C word again. Yes, consistency. Just an anecdote from my history of writing fan fiction. I was mainly a writer of fan fiction for the cartoon series Hey Arnold. I've lost count of how many fan fictions that I've written, but over the years I've learned a valuable lesson on how to get people to actually read your fan fiction. And I've uploaded on many different sites. I've uploaded on fanfiction.net, I've uploaded on Wattpad, I've uploaded an archive of our own. I've uploaded the same stories on different platforms, but the results are the same. If I tend to write a story and then pause for several months or even several years, even if I go back and finish that story, it doesn't quite get the same engagement or viewership than if I were to write a story and update consistently. By that I mean, you don't have to write and post every day. In fact, I highly discourage that. But if you have a sort of schedule on when you upload your chapters, it makes it easier for the reader, and they come to expect when you're supposed to update, and then they're more inclined to tune back to you. One of the worst things for a fanfiction reader is something called a dead fic. That's a fanfiction story that is started in earnest, and then the updates slowly trickle down until eventually the writer abandons it altogether. I really don't recommend doing this to your readers. It's very cruel, but on the same token, that's why I advocate for being consistent, because the more consistent you are, the more faith a reader has in your story. And if you're the type of person that updates maybe almost on a weekly basis for 3 months and then goes radio silent for 5 years only to post the whole story in 5 days, then you've kind of killed the momentum and no one's going to be interested in your story. So consistency is key. Lesson 2. You're not going to appeal to everyone. I've created this video on April 30th, 2021. It is exactly 10 years since I completed one of my most enduring, longest fan fictions that I've ever taken the time to complete, SAILOR HELGA. What is SAILOR HELGA, you might ask? Well, I don't want to get into too many specifics, but it was basically a crossover fan fiction of two of my favorite loves from when I was growing up, Hey Arnold and Sailor Moon. So I combined the two together, and after many false starts, many trial and error, many bouts with inconsistent updates, I finally completed the story on April 30th, 2021. I'm personally proud of the story. There's not too many crossover fan fictions. There's not too many Hey Arnold crossover fan fictions, and there's especially not too many Hey Arnold crossover fan fictions with Sailor Moon. And that's the point I just wanted to get across. You're not going to appeal to everyone. You might be lucky and be part of the Harry Potter fandom or the Twilight fandom, or you might be really into One Direction or BTS. And if you write that type of fan fiction today, you're going to get a lot of viewers because that's what's trending right now. That's what's popular on sites like Wattpad. My fan fiction, SAILOR HELGA, is only going to appeal to people who really like Hey Arnold and really like Sailor Moon. I'm sure there's a lot of people like that, but maybe not all of them actually like to read fan fiction. So I've unintentionally narrowed my audience by having such a particular melding of different shows. It's like Dita Von T says, you can be the juiciest, ripest peach in the world, and you're gonna find someone who doesn't like peaches. That's the name of the game. You could write the best, absolutely best fan fiction in the world, and you're going to fall upon deaf ears if you try to promote it to someone who hates the property that you've made the fan fiction on. So it's important to go into that knowing that fan fiction is a personal thing, and you should write it for yourself with the knowledge that you aren't going to appease to everyone, but just do the best you can. Lesson number 3. You have to own your weirdness. I own my weirdness every time I go on camera and admit to writing fan fiction. As I've mentioned in previous videos, fan fiction has kind of a bad rap. I mean, its profile is improving, but most people still turn their nose up at people who write fan fiction. And you know what? That's okay. When you write for yourself. It's great if other people enjoy the content that you're creating, but most importantly, you need to write and own what you write. Is it weird that I write Hey Arnold's fan fiction? Yes, I'm not gonna lie. I don't go down the street and announce to the masses that I used to write Hey Arnold fan fiction. It's weird, I get that. But I own it and I embrace that as part of my history, and I believe it was because I wrote Hey Arnold fan fiction that I am the writer that I am today. So you really gotta let your freak flag fly if you're going to commit to writing fan fiction, especially if you're going to write it for several years, as I have done. So again, if you want to write that steampunk Bob Moran AU fan fiction, you do you, boo. But you have to embrace it and own it, and your love for a property will show if you really truly lean in on your fandom. And I think it's the pure passion and joy of writing and embracing your fandom that attracts other readers and makes your stories stand out. It may not happen immediately. You may not get insane viral hit numbers like if you were to write Harry Potter or BTS or One Direction fan fiction, but that's fine. If you feel confident in your writing skill, then you will eventually get those views and you will eventually get the recognition. I promise you. So to recap, my 3 lessons for writing fan fiction. Number 1, be consistent. Number 2, not everyone's gonna like your writing. And number 3, own your weirdness. So that's all I have to say for now. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below or email me at info@sylviesoul.com. And that's all the time I have for today. Bye-bye.